Ring the bell.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Slam Society, and welcome to our review show here of TNA Against All Odds 2024 from the Cicero Stadium in Cicero, Chicago, Illinois. Apparently, it was sold out, so good for them, right? Good for them. You know what? I'd seen a lot of criticism toward the show before watching it, and I have a feeling that there are a lot of wrestling fans that haven't been watching TNA have kind of slept on TNA a little bit. And I feel like because of their relationship with NXT and WWE at the moment, they're looking to discredit it and they're looking to make it seem like it's a waste of time. And they're doing that so that the NXT TNA thing doesn't seem like a big deal or doesn't mean as much. That's just my opinion. I think about what like typical human psychology is like and how people want to downplay something just because they're a fan of something else. And it's a bit disheartening. And the last 24 hours of wrestling Twitter have been an absolute nightmare. The tribalism between wrestling fans who like AEW or WWE, it's now like, it was bad before. Now it really feels like it's getting bad. It's getting really bad. You got people out there trying to discredit others, make others feel small, talking down about somebody just because they don't watch. And who's this person? And we're going to get to that when we get to the Jordan Grace Open Challenge. But it's disheartening to see the distance between the two groups of fans to have grown so much that it's just, it feels like an all-out war on social media sometimes. Anyway, let's crack on with the show. I watched the countdown to Against All Odds, and the first matchup was Jonathan Gresham in his new gimmick there with the Great Muda-esque mask, taking on the Death Machine, Sami Callihan. I don't have a lot to say about it. They brawled on the outside for some time to begin the matchup, and they really went balls to the wall with that. Gresham was working the arm of Sami Callihan, and I thought Sami's wrestling with one arm was really creative. I've seen people work the arm or sell the arm over the years. You know, I've been a fan since '98. I've seen a few fucking matches. But I've never seen someone like try and scoop slam somebody with one arm. Like, really sold the arm. I thought it was really good. I do like Gresham's new character with the mask. He's a bit more sinister, but I still have a hard time understanding what it actually is. And maybe that's a fault of me not actually watching TNA Impact every week anymore. I was when I was writing for realprowrestling.com. Unfortunately, the website is on a hiatus at the moment as the man in charge has bought a cafe, so he needs to put money into that first before going back to the website. But so I've kind of stopped watching TNA Weekly, which makes the context of certain situations or characters or just everything to be a bit confusing because I don't really know everything, and not everything can have a video package, right? So yeah, solid back and forth. Kushida came out, who's obviously feuding with Gresham. He came out and he grabbed a hold of Jonathan Gresham and stuck some like tissue paper in his mouth to get the ink out because, you know, he is the octopus and he's been using that black ink to spray into his opponent's faces. And then he stuck the little bit of paper into a tube, and I'm guessing it's going to get tested. Soon after that, Sami hit a cactus driver and it was over. I like the finish. I'm someone who's not offended by finishes that have an interference. Some people are, apparently. I thought it was really interesting seeing NXT footage on a TNA show. Really interesting. It's just, who would have thought? WWE never do anything with anyone else. And now, you know, Vince is fucking finally gone, which I was waiting for years. just to see them working with TNA in this manner is just mind blowing to me. The next matchup are the Hex challenging Marsha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards for the Knockouts Tag Team titles. I was unaware of the card prior, so when I saw that the Hex were back together, I was like, finally. I just wondered where the hell they went, because I watched them when they were the NWA Women's Tag Team Champions, and they dropped those belts to Pretty Empowered, and then they were gone. I know that they were in TNA, was it last year, for a 1 month feud with the Coven for the tag titles. They lost, they disappeared, and I just kept thinking, what happened to them? Because they've been tagging together since what, 2019 or something. So they've, they've worked together. They're an established team, and in an era where there aren't many established women's tag teams, a lot of the time they're thrown together teams like Marsha or Alicia, or Marsha and Killer Kelly, the Coven. There's so many teams that have been just thrown together. The Death Dolls, Ty Valkyrie and Havoc, etc. It's just, yeah, like they're an established team, so it will be good to see them like hanging around a bit more. One thing about Alicia Edwards that I'm going to say, I'm sorry, I've got cotton mouth. Alicia Edwards gets it, dude. She gets it. She understands being a character. She is very unlikable. She just gets it. When she comes out, she's mouthing off to the crowd. She's got that look on her face. She's got the attitude constantly. She's always in character. And that's something that's really important. A lot of times in pro wrestling these days, there's a lot of wrestlers who are thinking about their spots because most of the matches pre-written, and like every single moment of the match was already planned. Like there's a lot of times where there's not a lot of people being spontaneous or doing it on the fly. When I wrestled, I barely ever came up with a match plan. Just a few spots here and there that you'd call in the ring, and you'd also obviously figure out what your finish was going to be. But I hated when I did pro wrestling, because this was when I was backyard wrestling. I hated when I did pro wrestling and the people in charge wanted me to write every single minute of the match. And to me, it just made it unauthentic. I don't know. It felt disjointed and forced. I prefer going out there and just feeling it, listening to the crowd and just calling it in the ring. It's so much easier for me. But and that's why it's easier to stay in character, because you're not thinking about what you need to remember every single second of every single match. So I hope the Hex stick around. They are a great tag team. I just think, again, TNA need to keep some women's tag teams around to make the division have a bit more consistency, because a lot of the time, we were hot potatoing this title belt or these title belts, and it's gone from one team to another, to another, to another. And the thing is, there's no consistency. They don't have 4 teams in the division. It's usually 2 teams feuding at once. And then once that feud's over, a new team will come in. That's just something that I've noticed. Anyway, great finish there with the Steiner Bulldog that Alicia hit on, I think it was Marty Bell, but yeah, good finish. And you know what? I saw a lot of criticism on this show, and at this point, nothing wrong so far. The show is sold out. It's good to hear. They panned the crowd. They panned the crowd at the beginning, and I'm sorry, this is going to be horrible, but not one looker in the building, mate. Like, I'm like, maybe don't pan the crowd anymore. I'm sorry, but this is what pro wrestling attracts. I'm not the sexiest man in the universe. I used to be pretty hot in my early 20s, but dude, seriously, some of these people in their DNA is just messed up. You can smell the arena through the video. Anyway, let's move forward. The Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz taking on Steve Macklin and Mike Santana. Again, not to be too negative, because I'm not negative on the show, but you know what? I've been watching so much wrestling in the last few years that sometimes you get a bit burned out. And sometimes when it comes to like a tag match, like, here we go, I gotta sit through a fucking match that I don't really care about. It's not anyone's fault. I'm sure if I was watching the weekly show and knew the story going into this, that maybe I'll care a bit more, but it just didn't really interest me too much. But anyway, I don't have anything against Trey Miguel or Zachary Wentz. I think they're clearly very talented guys, but I just feel like I've seen this match from them 100 times. And to some people that might be fine, but for me, bit burned out on wrestling. Mike Santana at one stage, he did a thing where he hit two wrestlers with a move at the same time, and I just hate that kind of spot. Always takes me out of the match. I thought Santana and Macklin worked well together. Steve Macklin is so underrated, dude. Like, I don't understand how this guy was pushed to main event status last year, drops the belt randomly to Alex Shelley, and he's just not in that echelon going forward. I don't know what they're doing with him. I know they re-signed him and all that. This guy is very, very good. He's a great character, but still a bit miffed about his position in TNA at the moment. But I thought him and Santana worked well together. I want to give props to the referee. Her name's Paige. I've been wondering for months what her name is, and finally my good friend ZTP let me know, and I have to say I think she's quite attractive. Too many super kicks, boys. Come on. Come on. Everyone complains about it. They're not complaining about it for no reason. It's a thing because it's a thing, okay? Let's take it easy. They work well together, these two teams. Santana and Macklin get the win. And it was interesting seeing them connect, considering how much of a prick that Steve Macklin is as a character. And there's no way he's ever going to get along with anybody. But, you know, interesting. Something interesting happened. Anyway, let's move forward. PCO takes on Rich Swann with AJ Francis, the digital media champion, at ringside. Dude, this is what happens when you don't watch the weekly show. I'm out of the loop. And I'm thinking, what happened to Crazy Steve? Where's he gone? He's gone, isn't he? They were really going with that character there with his feud with Tommy Dream. And the next thing you know, he's off the radar. No idea. But anyway, AJ is the digital media champion. And you know what? He suits it because that's kind of his thing. Again, you know, talking about this NXT TNA thing and some of the negative comments people have been making about it. You know, I'm seeing people saying things like, oh, you know, oh, yeah, you're hoping for like a great, cool, like TNA invasion, but all you're going to get is flop dollar and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, man, I don't know where people got to this point on hating on AJ Francis, aka formerly known as Top Dollar. I know he botched a dive to the outside in WWE once, and it was very funny. I get kind of sick and tired of this thing about, oh, this person can't wrestle. And it's being said by some fat cunt who like can't fucking do anything athletic at all. You know, probably vomit after going to a spin class. But this whole, you know, rhetoric about people who can't wrestle, it's just boring, bro. It's just boring. I've seen his work in TNA and MLW. His feud with Alex Kane in MLW and the matches he's had with him. His feud with Joe Hendry prior. I don't see anything wrong with his work. He's a bigger boy. He works like a bigger man. He's quick on his feet. I know he botched that dive in WWE, but I haven't seen him botch anything. Like, a bad wrestler is someone who fucks up all the time. And their timing is off, but he works fine. I don't see anything wrong with him. In fact, I find the guy fucking entertaining. He's really good on the microphone. He's so irritating. He's really good at what he does in that you know, part of wrestling with the character thing, which is the thing that I prefer more than the in-ring stuff. But I just think everyone's being a bit fucking hard on this bloke, you know? And again, this whole bullshit about, oh, they can't wrestle or whatever. Like, not everyone's going to be Will Ospreay. and be the most athletic person in the world that can do all this shit. Not everyone's going to be AJ Styles that can do all this shit. You know, not everyone's going to be a Bret the Hitman Hart. It's good to have different flavors. It's good to have different people out there. You know, I like watching Con. Con's a big man. You know, they kind of fucked him around a little bit in that feud with PCO because he never got one win over him. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with big man wrestling style. Not every big man needs to wrestle like fucking Matt Morgan, you know? Like, they can just be slow and plodding. It's okay. Stop taking it so seriously. And I know I take shit seriously, but fuck, give the guy a break. Anyway, PCO, a vital act of TNA right now. And you know what? I hope I see him show up in NXT in that battle royal this week or whatever's going to happen going forward. That would be just so funny that you know, Pierre from back in the day, like the 90s, ends up back in WWE for a cup of coffee. Like that just is funny to me. Anyway. Really loved AJ Francis getting involved in this match, the way that he just kind of like took PCO's legs out from under him when he was standing on the ring apron. Very entertaining. Also, I forgot to mention his promo where he's talking about how Scottie Pippen was the reason for Michael Jordan's success. That's just funny stuff to me. PCO laid Francis out with a very dangerous looking dive, and that old bloke just won't break, will he? The finish came soon after PCO hit his PCO salt, kind of overshot it, but you know, it's fine. You know, a bit disappointing, but shit happens. And he gets the victory. Anyway, out comes everyone have a gander at Steph DeLander. Holy shit. She's a little spicy. I like Steph, and I can see why Mance Warner is so enamored with her. You can check out an exclusive interview that I did with both of them at Starcast Down Under a few months ago on this channel. Anyway, Steph DeLander comes out and she's talking about PCO having given her a love letter, and she's making the decision then and there if she was going to go on a date with him. Easy day at the office for her. Comes in just to cut a couple minute promo, and she said yes, she's going to go on a date with PCO, which is ridiculous. I look forward to the vignettes. I'm sure it'll be fun. Let's move forward. The TNA World Tag Team titles on the line next. Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards of the System with Alicia Edwards at ringside taking on the Nemeth brothers. That's Nick and Ryan. I thought a title change was coming here, but for once, an ex-WWE guy is on the TNA roster and they are not rushing them towards a title run. That was really cool to see that, you know, they're taking their time with Nick Nemeth. This is Ryan Nemeth's first real opportunity, and I'm not knocking on AEW, but when did you ever see him do anything other than job on TV or wrestle on AEW Dark? I mean, come on. This is his first real opportunity. People are watching Ziggler, and they want to see what Baby Dolph has got to offer as well. Alicia getting involved popped me, of course, every single time. She is irritating there at ringside. Dirty Dango rocked up and got Alicia ejected from ringside. But I knew he was out there to screw Nick. There's no way he was coming out there to be a babyface. I will say this, sometimes you watch so much wrestling that you just want to skip through the usual build-up process to see the last quarter of the match where it kicks into high gear. That's just the way it is sometimes when you're reviewing so much shit. But I know that there's a group called The System in TNA, but bro, the amount of times you have to hear, trust the system. The system works. The system has failed. Shut up. I hate when wrestling has, you know, in wrestling, they just drive things into the ground. And I know you need to do that kind of thing, but it's like hating on LA Knight being like, LA Knight. Yeah. Fucking shut up. Anyway, the end of the match, you knew the referee was going to get pulled out as they went for the pinfall. It was so obvious the way the referee was. It's obvious every time the referee is going to get pulled out. They never naturally get down on the mat to go for the count, and then all of a sudden you're surprised by somebody pulling them out because they'll kind of hesitate a little bit. Anyway, Dango and Moose were at ringside, and we didn't see who pulled them out. They both blamed each other. That was funny. Nemeth jumped off the top rope onto Moose and laid him out. But then Dango, whilst this was happening, the referee was distracted, hit Ryan Nemeth from behind the ref's back, and there was a Boston knee party from Eddie Edwards, and it was over. And I was hoping Dango was going to join the group, but I think that's not on the cards. But he did help them win. Anyway, following this, G Miller backstage with the ABC for another interview. I don't really have anything to add there other than G Miller is pretty. At this point, again, still not really sure what's wrong with this show when I look at it based on its own merits and not the fact that I have fatigue, wrestling fatigue, where I'm a bit bored, watching stuff just because I am burned out. When I look at it for what it is, I'm like, there's nothing really wrong with this show. We've got stories continuing on. Things are happening. It's not just matches for matches' sake. It's not just fucking, let's watch these two guys wrestle for 25 minutes. There's stories happening throughout this show. Joe Hendry, I believe in Joe Hendry, takes on Kazarian, Frankie Kazarian. I'm enjoying Frankie as a heel. I think it suits him. I think it's his calling in pro wrestling. He's a good baby face. Kazarian could do anything, bro. Joe Hendry seems to really starting to get a bit hot. The fans really are into him. All this stuff with the BBC and his fucking theme song. I would not be surprised when they do this NXT TNA thing if he and Jordan Grace get scooped up by WWE, even though they don't really need them because they already have enough people, dude. Like, this thing about, I don't want to get on too much of a rant because I have things to do today, but this thing about, WWE should have signed this person or that person. They don't need to sign any free agents. They don't need any of these people. They've got NXT. That's the whole point of NXT. I was Ethan Page. I felt like, is he necessary? They got enough people there in NXT. NXT is kind of the place also where they put people from the main roster down there, like Mitchin and Ridge Holland, Baron Corbin. They put people down there for a while when they're not doing anything on the main roster. So, like, again, do they need Joe Hendry? Probably not, but I would not be surprised if they realized, this guy's pretty good. Despite the fact he's probably a little bit older than what they're looking for. Anywho, not much to add here because it's just a wrestling match between these two, and I'm not going to talk about the moves. I don't do that anymore. Joe got knocked out by Kazarian on a back suplex into the ring from the outside of the ring apron. A la Randy Savage used to do this spot, getting a backdrop, and then boom, those brass knucks to the head. Kazarian did not use brass knucks, but something else to beat Joe here. He puts the boots to him, locks in the chicken wing, and then Ace Steel shows up and he nails Kaz after getting shoved. Not sure why that's happened. Maybe Ace Steel wants to get back out there. I've never seen him wrestle, to be honest with you. Not a knock on him. My knowledge isn't aware, but I didn't even know who Ace Steel was until Brawl Out. Never heard of him before. Very generic ring name too, Ace Steel. Like, how many Ace Steels have there been? Not knocking him, I'm just saying. But okay, he's wrestling Kazarian on Impact this week, so that might be interesting. Anyway, let's move forward again. TNA X Division Championship, Mustafa Ali defending against Trent Seven. Again, the only problem I'm having with this pay-per-view is general disinterest in wrestling in general, like in-ring wrestling. It can get a bit tiresome, bro. Like, I have to watch fucking Triple A tonight. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, bro. Like, Triple Mania. It's just like, Anyway, I'm sure it'll be fine, but man, I'm sure any other day I'll be into it a bit more. Anyway, although I was disinterested in the match, looking at it on its own merits, basing it on its own merits and how the fans were reacting, they were really into this. I think these two worked very well together. A lot of hope spots and a lot of false finishes. Thought it was over when Trent Seven hit that low blow and the burning hammer. Again, my complaint always is about people kicking out of finishes. He had already kicked out of the 450. Now Ali's kicking out of his. I get it, but we don't need to hang our hat on kicking out of finishes for false finishes. That's just me. I think there's other ways to go about it. That doesn't need to compromise the integrity of your finishing hold or finishing move. His Trent Seven's legs were just demolished by Ali, and eventually he could not hold on much longer, and he tapped out to a sharpshooter. So Ali again gets out by the skin of his teeth. And you know what? Ali's having a good run. I think this is the best run he's had in his wrestling career. His whole time in WWE, I was so disinterested in anything he did. But man, I'm telling you, he's getting some spotlight. He's getting the opportunity to do what he wants to do, and he's shining. So props to him. He must be having fun. It's good that he got out and he got released when he did, because he's still in the prime of his career. It would be a shame for him to have had his prime taken away from him by just being in WWE and not really doing a whole lot, because they didn't know what to do with his character. He was very bland. So anyway, coming up next, Chris Bay and Ace Austin, the ABC, taking on Josh Alexander and Eric Young. Did not write many notes on this one. Will say, though, this is where the show kicked into high gear for me. The last three matches I really liked. Josh Alexander, I said it to his face here in Ballarat, I think he is the best wrestler in the world today. The number one wrestler in the world. I just think he's the best in-ring performer. Maybe not the best character. His character's pretty good, though. Like, there's layers to his character. But he's the only babyface world champion in the last 5 years that I think has actually had a very interesting title reign. Just because his character had layers, because heels have layers to their characters. That's why their title reigns don't get complaints, and baby faces do, because they don't have enough layers and they're boring. It's more interesting watching them chase the belt. We've heard it a million times. Anyway, really good match here. Favorite spot of the match, Chris Bay grabbed Josh Alexander by the balls and squeezing them and crushing them. And the fans were going nuts over this. No pun intended, by the way. They were going nuts over it. And then Josh grabbed his balls back, and they're just both standing there screaming, crushing each other's testicles. So it's stuff like that. Like, it was only a little part of the match, and it didn't have any effect on the rest of it. But it was like, this is what they're doing to each other to try and gain an advantage. Chris had enough. He just wanted to crush his balls. And then Josh is like, well, if you're going to crush mine, then fuck. here's to ya. Nothing else to really say. One question, though. Where is Alexander Hammerstone? Where's Hammerstone? He was there. Is he injured? Maybe he's injured. I hope not. I was really enjoying Hammerstone's shit. Great finish between the two. Eric accidentally hitting Josh. I smell a feud at some point. They're planting a seed. And I don't know if I've seen Eric Young and Josh Alexander wrestle or have a feud, but, they got to... If Josh Alexander turns heel, then maybe that might be a good thing, because he's been doing the babyface things for, 3 or 4 years now. Maybe it might be time for a refresher for his character. Let's move forward. Jordan Grace has an open challenge for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. I knew who it was going to be ahead of time, because I'm not stupid. It was obvious when you saw Jordan Grace wrestle Roxanne Perez at Battleground. Tatum Paxley interfered in the match. Knew she was going to be... Her whole story has been she's obsessed with the title belt. She was obsessed with Lyra Valkyria's title belt, and she wanted the belt. And now she's obsessed with Jordan Grace's title belt. She tried to steal it at Battleground, as I said. Somebody on Twitter, and you know what? I'm not responding to any tweets today, because I've had it up to here with the fucking tweets. But I saw someone on Twitter saying, "Oh, like Nobody reacted when Tatum came out. No one reacted. Like, what a fucking misfire. And it's just like, you're a cunt, mate. Like, for Christ's sake. Here's the thing, right? I don't expect everyone in the universe to be watching NXT every week as the developmental brand or whatever. There's only so many hours in a week, too. Tatum Paxley has been featured quite a lot on NXT in the last few months, especially in the main women's title program when Lyra Valkyria was there, and also with Roxanne, and now with Jordan being there. She's been a prominent kind of character on the show. So if you have been watching, then you probably know. But here's the thing, right? Her theme song hit, and you know what? I've been watching, and this is a problem with WWE theme songs, dude. Like, fuck, you hear a theme song, you're like, they all sound the same. It drove me insane when I watched the Royal Rumble this year, and they keep panning the crowd when it gets to 3, 2, 1. They pan the crowd when the theme song hits. And I'm like, I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is based off the first few seconds of the theme song. That's a problem. Shoot the fucking entranceway and have their name show up on the fucking screen so I know who's coming out at the exact same time as the crowd knows. It's so frustrating as a fan watching that. I fucking hate it. Anyway, I think it would have been better before she even walked out that Tatum Paxley shows up. The name shows up on the fucking big screen, maybe with a picture of her or something posing. You know? Give me that. Then people know who it is before she walks out instead of like squinting their eyes and trying to figure out who it is because no one knows who the fuck anyone is from the fucking theme songs that they use in WWE right now. I'm fucking over it, bro. Why has Jim Johnston not been fucking called and rehired? Please get rid of the fucking guys you have now. I am over it. They all sound the same. All these theme songs. Fucking hate it. Anyway. So yeah, Tatum didn't get a big reaction, but I think because of the way it was presented, people were taking a while to figure out who it was because there was no name on the fucking screen. And she comes out and, you know, she's being like kind of her character. And so she's got like a hood on and she's being mysterious and all that. So it's kind of hard to like pop when, you know, it's all a bit of a mystery until she got in the ring and she finally took the hood off. Anyway, Ash by Elegance comes out with her concierge and she's watching the match in a computer chair. Okay. If you didn't know who Tatum Paxley was before this, and you gone on Twitter and saying, "Oh my God, Jordan Grace like lost to their champion and then just lost and then just beat some like nobody from NXT, like some green chick that no one's ever heard of." Okay, you don't watch NXT, then you can't. But here's the thing. Even if it's okay that you don't really know who Tatum Paxley is, now you do. Now you know who the fuck she is. This was her biggest opportunity to date because she's wrestling in TNA and people are wondering what's going on with this NXT TNA thing. She's now being highlighted and you're learning about her by seeing her at Against All Odds, right? These two had the best match up to this point of the show. I'm telling you right now, what a great match between these two. Paxley, she rose to the occasion. She played her character through the match. She never forgot being in character. I loved the moment where she started her heat by going under the ring and Jordan went to grab her and Tatum pulled her into that steel beam. A great single leg crab reversal by Tatum. I was like, mate, killing it. I think Tatum got over by the end of the match because they had such a good match. She stayed in character. And again, by the end of it, people now know who she is. If you don't know her, then okay, that's on you, I suppose. Like, maybe it was on me when the last AEW pay-per-view, that guy, I don't know his name, I can't remember it now, but he interfered in Jericho's match and took off his mask. And I was like, I still don't know who it is. He might as well have left the mask on. I have no idea who that guy is. I know he's like a jobber guy that's getting an opportunity now. Good for him. And sorry, some people don't like the word jobber, but he's been losing quite a lot from what my friend Kev told me. But I was like, I don't know who he is. Why do a big reveal with a mask if it's, going to be like that? But maybe it's on me for not watching. And even so, like, whatever. Okay, let's get this over and done with. I want to get out of here. Best match of the show so far. Jordan won with the Juggernaut Driver. Great match. Again, stop worrying about who Tatum is and just watch the match and see how you feel about her afterward. And now you'll know who she is, okay? I know some people have gone about, I don't know who she is. I needed the video package. Like it's not the point, right? This whole video package thing, like, yes, like if it's somebody who's like coming from a company that no one's heard of or not the masses watch, then okay, you might need a video package. But if they're coming from WWE or NXT, maybe not so much. I don't know. If you're watching TNA, then you should be watching NXT right now to keep up to date with what's going on. If you love TNA, you'd want to know what's going on over there. Anyway, Ash by Elegance attacks Jordan afterward, then gets laid out and has champagne poured on her, and then kept slipping over in the puddle of champagne. It's so stupid. It's like when Vince and the corporation were falling over themselves because of the Austin with the beer truck. It's just like, fuck off, man. Main event time. Let's fucking get this over and done with. Moose, the heavyweight champion, defending against broken Matt Hardy. I am so sick again of people talking shit about Matt Hardy, okay? I've seen this match and I saw the 6-man tag at the previous TNA pay-per-view. This dude is still going balls to the wall. He might have some hip problems. He might be a bit over the hill, but he is still trying. He is still going out there and trying to make his opponents look the best that they possibly can. Matt Hardy, bro, absolutely killed it here. The Nemesis take the system out early on. Moose was wearing Matt out with a trash can lid. They brawl through the crowd. I call that the old man spot. Sting used to do it in TNA back in the day, and he did it in AEW a lot. They brawl through the crowd to eat up some time. That superplex that Moose hit on the chairs on Matt Hardy, I'm like, fuck, Matt. Like, that looked like it fucking hurt. This was a great war. It was a palate cleanser that was necessary. I wanted a bit of hardcore here by this point. There have been a lot of just, straight up wrestling matches by this point in the show. Matt scared Alicia Edwards at ringside. He grabs a box. Moose gets hold of the box, and inside his old helmet from his football days is in there. And then he charges at Matt Hardy and gets a backdrop, a high back body drop over the top rope onto a fucking ladder, dude. Moose always fucks himself up with these bumps, dude. Like, he is, props to him, man. Like, if there's a hardcore match, Moose fucking goes through the ringer, son. Great spot there. One thing, there was this chick in the crowd who wouldn't stop fucking laughing and heckling, and she was really annoying. Matt Hardy put a helmet on as well, and the fans chanted CTE. Fuck. These fans are a bit loose, but we are in Chicago, by the way. Matt had a brain fart. Matt set up a ladder, put Moose on a table, and did the fucking leg drop off the ladder through the table on the outside. Awesome, dude. I thought the last half of this pay-per-view was great. Alicia got involved with the kendo stick when Matt had hit the twist of fate with Moose wedged in a folded out chair. Alicia got involved with that kendo stick, and then Rebecca Hardy, she made an interference here, which was quite a surprise. And then she tried to lay out Alicia. And then Moose had stood up. Matt Hardy was charging at him to put him through the table in the corner, but Moose pulled Rebecca in the way, and Matt accidentally put her through the table. Very cool drama here. After that, Moose hit the spear on Matt Hardy. As we know, that is mathematical at that point for Moose. He wins and retains the championship. The system went after Rebecca after the match. The Nemeth came back out. Joe Hendry tried to make a save as well. He got cut off. And then Jeff Hardy's theme song. I can't believe they got the fucking rights to the song. It's like when Jeff was there the first time, they didn't realize that they could get the rights to that song. Jeff Hardy came out and I thought he looked good. He did what he needed to do. He cleaned house with that chair. I thought it was a great ending to the show. It made me forget about the fact that I was kind of bored at the beginning of it because the last half was so exciting. Jeff hit a swanton on Moose. Didn't do his old man swanton where he just crushes him with his lower back. He actually did a proper swanton. But honestly, great finish to the show, and it made me feel something at least for the first time in a while with TNA. I haven't been too chuffed with them this year, but this one not so bad. So there we have it, everyone. The 13th edition of Against All Odds here for my review here on the Slam Society. I'm sorry again that I'm not responding to some tweets. I'm just a bit over Twitter at the moment. I've kind of had enough with how negative everyone is on there. And I don't really feel like right now I want to give them the light of day. The only thing I will say is that, for anyone who's making complaints about Jordan Grace losing to Roxanne Perez and then having to wrestle someone who's kind of seen as a mid-carder in NXT to get her win back, there have been so many times where wrestling fans have said, let it play out. This is only early on in this story with NXT and TNA. It's baby steps. They're just treading the water, okay? She's got a little win now, but when worlds collide at some point, and I'm sure they will, I'm sure she will get a big win over someone. Maybe Roxanne will challenge for the TNA Knockouts World title, and Jordan will get her win back. The thing with wrestling fans these days is that they expect everything all at once. They want everything now. Now, I want my dopamine hit now. It's okay to take your time with some stories. I prefer it. I don't want to have us blow our fucking load over this fucking angle too early on. You need to take your time. The slow burn story. Remember Honor No More in TNA, that angle? That went for ages and they took their fucking time and it was so good. It was probably the best angle they've done since I've been watching TNA and Impact since I started watching the shit. They took their time. Take your time with this. Let's slowly but surely make this become a thing. Eventually it will become a thing. TNA still have their own storylines going on right now. They can't be all joined together to fight NXT yet. Let's just take your time, right? And again, what the fuck did you want? You knew Jordan was going to beat Roxanne for the belt. You knew that wasn't going to happen. What did you want here? I saw someone fucking suggest on Natalya. She's not NXT. Yes, she popped in for a quick feud with Lola Vice to give the rub to Carmen Petrovic. She was there for a cup of coffee. She's gone again now. She's back on the main roster again. They do that all the time. This isn't WWE versus TNA. This is NXT versus TNA. Bringing out Natalya does not make any fucking sense, you dolt. It doesn't make sense. Tatum Paxley makes sense because of what's been happening. They implemented a story going on in NXT to be involved in this thing going on with NXT and TNA. It's the only option that made sense. I don't know what you fucking fans want. Take your time and just enjoy a ride for once. Just enjoy a ride. You never know. You might actually enjoy it if you allow yourself to. Stop being so fucking negative. Stop trying to shit on something before it's even happened. Give it a chance. We're only in the early days here, bitch. All right, I'm Karlifornia. This is the Slam Society. Please like and subscribe. And please check us out on Twitch. We are on twitch.tv /Slam Society. We're going to be streaming quite a lot now, so please check that out. We've been doing it the last few nights, so we're going to keep doing that shit going forward. Anyway, thank you all for joining me here for the Against All Odds 2024 review. Karlifornia, see ya down the road. Thank you.